Howdy-ho, neighborinos. This is Keith Bird once again with another exciting edition to Cyberforce Civilians 101. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, 2FA, otherwise known as MFA. I've been harping on this for some time because I think that this, along with getting a password manager, is one of the biggest steps you can take to precipitously lower your chances of getting hacked, of the bad guys compromising your account. It's not bulletproof security because there's no such thing, but it really is important. And today I'm going to give you one more good reason why. I sent my news services to notify me about cybersecurity news I can use, and this story just jumped out at me. It's a story about this guy, Dennis Damon, a chief privacy officer for several organizations. He had a son who had committed two horrible cyber sins. First, this son used the same password for multiple sites. And second, this son had not set up 2FA. The guy's son suddenly found out that he couldn't access his Xbox account. He went to his dad, and they tried to figure out what the problem was. When they tried to reset the password, they discovered just how bad the situation was. Let me quote from the article. When the two of them sat down to reset the password, the screen displayed a notice saying there was a new Gmail address tied to his Xbox account. When they went to turn on multi-factor authentication for his son's Xbox profile, which was tied to a non-Microsoft email address, the Xbox service said it would send a notification of the change to the unauthorized Gmail account in his profile. Wary of alerting the hackers that they were wise to their intrusion, Dennis tried contacting Microsoft Xbox support, but found he couldn't open a support ticket from a non-Microsoft account. Using his other son's Outlook account, he filed a ticket about the incident with Microsoft. Dennis soon learned the unauthorized Gmail address added to his son's hacked Xbox account also had enabled MFA, meaning his son would be unable to reset the account's password without approval from the person in control of the Gmail account. Luckily for Damon's son, he hadn't reused the same password for the email address tied to his Xbox profile. Nevertheless, the thieves began abusing their access to purchase games on Xbox and third-party sites. Quote, during this period, we started realizing that his bank account was being drawn down through purchases of games from Xbox and Electronic Arts, end quote. Damon the Elder recalled. Quote, I pulled the recovery codes from his Xbox account out of the safe, but because the hacker had turned on multi-factor, those codes were useless to us, end quote. Microsoft support sent Damon and his son a list of 20 questions to answer about their account, such as the serial number on the Xbox console originally tied to the account when it was created. But despite answering all of these questions successfully, Microsoft refused to let them reset the password. Damon said, quote, they said their policy was not to turn over accounts to someone who couldn't provide the second factor, end quote. Damon's case was eventually escalated to Tier 3 support at Microsoft, which was able to walk him through creating a new Microsoft account, enabling MFA on it, and then migrating his son's Xbox profile over to the new account. Now, and that's the end of my quoting from the article. Now, the title of the article neatly sums up the point the author and I are trying to make. Turn on MFA before crooks do it for you. This is a cautionary tale, a story for you to hear and respond with, man, I sure don't want to end up like that guy. Because as someone once told me, It's good to learn from your mistakes, but it's much better to learn from the other guy's mistakes. And 99.999% of the time when I've goofed up in the cyber world and in real life, it's not some brand new mistake I created out of thin air. It's me not paying attention to the cautionary tales all around me. It's like the old joke about the guy who said that anybody who broke into his house would get a warning shot. The burglar would get shot, and that's a warning to the next guy. So here's what I recommend. First, you go to your password manager and make a list of all the important websites which you have an account on, sites which host sensitive data about you. Just as a rule of thumb, you can ask yourself, would I care if someone got my password to this site and could access what I have here? If not, if it's some news forum that you're a part of, who cares? But if it's your bank, if it's your email, your Google account, any social media site like Facebook or Twitter, or if it's a place where your medical or financial records are stored, I think that's worth protecting, right? Second, go to those sensitive websites and go to your account profile on them and find out what they offer as far as 2FA is concerned. If you're not sure, you can also go to the webpage twofactorauth.org, which is in the video notes below and in the article I cited. There at twofactorauth.org, you can look up your account website like chase.com and see what's available for that website. If they don't offer 2FA and it's a site that hosts sensitive data about you, then that's a problem. Quite frankly, I'd either be raising a stink about it or take my business elsewhere if that's feasible. If all they offer you is to email or text you to prove who you are, well, that's better than nothing. Although I would encourage you to politely urge them to at least offer an authenticator app option like we've talked about before. Third, your obvious final step is to enable 2FA on every sensitive website you can using the most secure method available like we've talked about before. Anyway, hopefully you can see why I'm so passionate about this. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.